Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Around the World, where we talk about how great other countries are and learn about their culture and kind of celebrate being a global citizen. And today I've got Victoria here, who's from Peru. She's not just a visitor, that's where she's from, and she's going to talk to us a lot about all the cool things Peru has to offer. So just to kind of get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up?
Hi everyone. My name is Victoria. I was born in Ica, Peru. Um, I went to the U.S. to Appleton, Wisconsin, to do my bachelor's. I did a major in economics and international relations, and now I moved to Switzerland. I did my master's here, and I'm living since 2014.
Awesome. What was your master's in?
International development.
Cool. Okay. So do you work with like the UN or
Yes, so I work in the Global Fund, which is not the UN, but we work closely with the WHO,
gotcha.
specifically in health projects.
Gotcha. Cool. That's awesome. That's a fun thing to do. Okay, so you grew up and it was in
ICA,
Ica. Okay.
yeah.
So is that like I know Peru is very mountainous. Is that up in the mountains?
No, it's actually on the coast.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're
it's
down.
the desert area in Peru. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So then there's obviously a lot of different like habitats and like ecosystems and stuff in Peru. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Peru is very biodiverse. It has a lot of different landscapes. And so basically the whole country is divided in three regions.
Hmm.
We have the coastal zone or region, which is very desertic. We have I'm from the desert. It's literally like a sand dune desert with an oasis. And next to it, we have all the Andes, which go through the country.
Hmm.
And then immediately next to the Andes, we have the Amazon.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have a very clear horizontal lines of different regions.
Right. So you could travel like east,
Yeah, if you
west,
drive
and yeah.
exactly, if you drive through the east, yeah, no, west to the east, then it's like completely different
That's really
landscapes.
cool
Yeah,
though, because like in the United States, you have to drive like hours to get to a different place,
yeah,
like different stuff, and you could like probably do it in like a day.
yeah. It depends where you go because the country is like very broad in the north, but it has
Gets
like kind of like a
thinner.
waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it
Okay.
goes down. So yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Is there like anything, I guess like you're from the desert area, is there like a kind of like pride in being from that area of the country or like does that kind of thing not happen?
Oh, definitely. So we have like the sand dunes, and we're very proud of like doing sandboarding, or like when I was in like school, we would go like do like running, or like any type of exercise in the desert because it's just like behind us.
Right.
So and then we have like this. It's a little bit of a valley, and we have like grapes and a lot of agriculture, and we have our national beverage, alcoholic beverage, which is pisco. So we're
Oh, okay.
also proud of that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. That's awesome. Um, so if you could create a positive stereotype about people from your country, what would it be?
So I think I don't know. There are a lot. I think we are very, very like happy people. But the biggest stereotype, if you meet any Peruvian, they will always talk about the amazingness of Peruvian food. It's just
Okay.
like something that will just come out like Peruvian cuisine is the best, and then they will talk about the whole like history behind it, and like how many cultures and like ingredients we use from different countries, and yeah. So I think that
Continue. Go ahead. Talk about it.
so we have like I think it's like mainly like four main cultures. So we have our indigenous background,
Sure.
which has very it's a very
Oh no, Victoria.
soy sauce and a lot of sauces, rice. We eat it every day, and then we have the Spanish um, background as we were a colony from Spain. So we have the typical estofado or adobo, which are very typical Spanish ones. So we mix those, and we have this like amazing mixture of cuisine. Um, and I share with you some of the dishes, which is like lomo saltado or ceviche. We have a lot of seafood with a lot of lime, and it's also a very, especially in the coast, is very warm. So we try to make it very not sour, but like something that is refreshing. So
Right.
ceviche is very refreshing. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And you did talk for a lot about it, so it must be true. Awesome. Okay, so you talked a little bit about how you have like an indigenous community in, I mean, most countries in the Americas do, but did you guys get to learn about that indigenous community a lot in school?
Yes. So we're very, very proud of that whole, not only the Inca part, because we were the biggest empire in South America
Mhm.
and the capital of the empire, which was in Cusco in Peru.
Right.
We are also very, very proud of the pre-Inca cultures, and we
Yeah.
have one of the oldest civilizations in South America. Like we have a lot of ruins. Um, and so growing up, yes, there was a lot of emphasis. You just grow up and you have like a lot of archaeological sites and ruins, and then you're like asking, and then in school they tell you like, like they're very like critical with the time. So you really learn like from this time to this time it was this civilization, from this time to this time this civilization came and conquered, and then
Right.
yeah. So yeah, we did learn all the way until the Spanish invasion.
Yeah. That's what you should call it. It is an invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it's interesting because when I grew up in the United States, we like learned about the Native Americans, but like we didn't learn about specific tribes. We didn't learn about specific cultures. It was mostly just they were there and then we conquered them and now we put them on these reservations and that's where they stay. And so we don't really talk about that kind of stuff the same way. It feels like you celebrate it in Peru, which I think is fantastic. And I wish we did it that way here because um, they need it because like in Appleton there's a reservation like a 20-minute drive from here and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, it was needed
I
to
had
die
no
until like
idea.
a year or
Yeah.
two ago, right there, but there's a whole people up there, um and we just don't celebrate it the same way, which is a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the type of colonization from the Spaniards was completely different. They did really establish a whole living society, and it was a lot of like the Spanish people setting up with um, like a whole system, and there was a lot of mix between like indigenous people and Spanish. So it was just like a melting pot of cultures.
Right. Yeah. Whereas I feel like ours was more like you're very different and we're going to push
Yeah.
you away from us.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't that kind of melting pot sort of thing. Like we have a different kind of melting pot. It's more of like groups of Europeans that melted together instead of,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Oh well, America. um, so you did come and live in the United States for a while. How was that challenging for you coming from a place that's so different like Peru and then living in Appleton, Wisconsin for 4 years?
um it was very, very interesting, I will call it. Well, first of all, I think the language was the main challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I came to the US when I was 17, actually. I was quite young.
Okay.
And to do the whole, college experience in a completely different language. I studied English in school, but it was different. I had to take exams like the SAT and, like
Right.
um, other exams, but it was still like your whole brain was working in a different kind of,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know. Yeah, but that was the first thing. But the second thing, of course, Wisconsin is very cold. So I remember the first time it was like, I think even 30, I was like, oh my God, like my hands were bleeding because I had never felt that like temperature before. Like my whole hand was like completely bleeding. Um,
That's crazy.
and yeah, no, it was like my whole body reacted weirdly because I'm from a very dry and warm temperature, so like it was just out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, it was that like the social interactions were completely different. Back home, we're very like warm and like you'll just talk about a lot of things in like a very short period of time. Like if you see some friend on the streets, you will be like, oh, like how's your mom, how's your sister, how's your
Right.
neighbor, like but in the US it was a little bit different. I think people really appreciate their personal space, first of all, so we like touch a lot. And I was like, in the beginning I was like, okay, like don't kiss. um, and then the other part was that I would say like, how are you, and I will expect like, like a whole full response, and people would be like, oh, good, thank you, and then they would just leave.
Yeah.
And then I understood that was just like, like a very polite way to just say hi.
Yeah, the Midwest nice only Cameron, hi.
Hi,
Here's Cameron.
Cameron.
That's Victoria. We're talking
It's so
about
nice to see
Peru.
you, Cameron.
Yeah, she's my friend. Okay, we'll fix this later. You go somewhere else, please, because we're doing this right now. Okay, no, take this with you. I'll be out soon, okay? Thank you.
Oh, what a good boy.
Yep, he listens to his dad.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess that is kind of a big difference to go from like the expected norm of talking a bunch and like being willing to like, hug and touch and that being okay and normal to here where that's definitely not something that people are used to. And like,
Yeah,
yeah, because like I struggle with that because
completely.
I'm a hugger and people don't like it. And because like I'll come up, I'll be like, hi, and they'll be like, don't touch me.
You
Yeah.
should come to South America. Yeah,
Well,
no, it's really funny because here in Switzerland they actually, so back home we give one kiss when we say hi. So
right,
like I will just, to anyone, like like even if you have like a 10 people party or like
right,
20 people party, you will just go and kiss each one
right.
of the people. But in Switzerland you give 3 kisses.
That's a lot.
3. So like it was also a cultural shock to come here, and I will just do one, and then people will have like the other cheek waiting, and I was like, oops. So yeah.
Yeah. That's like so like I've heard of like the one kiss thing. And like I know that some people do like two when they're like family or something like that, but three's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got a lot really strong neck muscles now. You gotta do the head thing over and over again. um
Yeah.
yeah. So other than obviously like the coronavirus, is there anything like happening in Peru that's been kind of big or like that the country's kind of struggling with right now?
Yeah, so um politically we've had a bit of instability. We were supposed to have a president. He got impeached. I think 2018 or maybe 2019, early 2019. You have to check those dates. But
Yeah.
it was 2018 or 19. He got impeached, and we got the vice president becoming the president.
Okay.
And there's a lot of that in. I mean, there's been a lot of the the other parties questioning the decision, and then there are a lot of allegation of corruption.
Sure.
So I think that was the main thing happening right now in the country, I think. And of course, coronavirus has taken over
Right.
any other conversation.
Yeah. That's a big part. I mean, it's gonna be a big part for every country right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand the corruption thing because we've been dealing with that too. So hooray!
Yeah.
But it's
In the
over.
Americas. Yeah.
Hooray! Maybe we'll see. We got 2 more months to figure that all out. Yeah, right. Um, so obviously, right, Peruvians speak Spanish. Are there other languages that are kind of major players in Peru then, other than Spanish?
Yes. So we have a large part of the population speak Quechua and Aymara.
Hmm.
Those are like the biggest numbers, but we also have so many indigenous languages
Right,
in the jungle, in the Amazon.
right,
And I think from the government part, they are doing a lot of work to try to introduce them, like just make people aware that there are other languages around in the country.
hmm,
And also the kind of government services that they do are in that language. So yeah, I think so far we have official like 40 native tongues.
nice. Yeah, that's cool.
That's a
Because
lot. Yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of work. Someone
Yeah.
someone's getting their paycheck to figure that
Somewhere. Yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's super interesting, especially as soon as you go to the Amazon, there are tribes still there,
right.
and there's a lot of government work to try to like at least respect their privacy, but also try to give them the like the first or the primary services, government services,
Sure, right. So
access
you
to health.
they want to open that dialogue, but not um, destroy their culture or what they're doing on their
Right.
own. That's
Yeah.
cool. Because I feel like a country over or two, like Brazil's doing the opposite almost, and so it's like
Yeah.
so it's nice to see that there are countries that are still trying to be respectful of those sorts of things.
Well, as much as we can, there's
Right.
always the question of if there's like a huge mining company and they discover something under, they will just,
Right. They're still going to go there and do what they want to do. Right.
sadly, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, can't be perfect.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You could try, but it never works out. Cool. Well, so one more, I guess, kind of big question is if someone was going to travel to Peru and they wanted like the true Peruvian experience, where would you recommend they go?
Yay.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I think the first thing to understand about Peru, and as I said before, is that we have different landscapes.
Hmm.
It will definitely be an adventurous trip.
Right.
There's nothing like like crazy fancy, or it will be a nature trip for sure. So if you're looking
Gotcha.
for that, then Peru is that. And then you just have to be aware of what you're trying to visit. So in the coast, of course, Lima, the capital, will be a great start. We have a
Mhm.
lot of historical buildings linked to our colonial history with Spain.
Mhm.
And because it's the capital, it has a lot of, like the history also of how Peru became such a, unique country in South
Right.
America. And also I think the best food is in Lima too. Like the chefs that are like internationally renowned are
Right.
there too.
Yeah.
And then I will definitely invite people to go to my city. Like Ica is also like a tiny town, but we have a desert. The only oasis in South America is there. It's a beautiful place. It's the land of the pisco, our national beverage.
Right.
And then I think depending on like if you want to hike, like you can visit the mountains,
Hmm.
the Andes, And the typical trip that a lot of people know is going to Machu Picchu, going to Cusco,
Right.
Aguascalientes. There's a lot of like ruins around that area which are beautiful.
Hmm.
But the only thing that I would tell you is that it's a lot of there are a lot of tourists, but there
Sure.
are also many other ruins in the Andes that people can go, many mountains that people can hike. Um, and so I'll just like tell other people to just explore or just go to the map and find like the region that they're looking for.
Hmm.
And the Amazon is more of like, again, it's very humid, and then there's a lot of animals and a lot of things to do like nature wise. So like that's a region I've never been, but I definitely want to go.
Right.
um, so that's more like connected to nature, whereas I think the mount, like Cusco, for instance, is more historical, but
Right.
connected to like the Inca history.
Right. Right. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making time to come on and talk with me about this. And especially with the time difference, because you're like 8 hours away.
I
uh,
don't even know now. It's like it keeps changing,
yeah, it
so I'm
keeps
like I lost
changing and it's
track.
hard. But
But
yeah,
thank you for inviting me.
yeah, absolutely. It was great to talk to you. It was great to see you again. Because like you said before we started talking, it's been way too long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we could talk about your country and how different and unique it is, and let people know about how awesome it is, because that's what it's all about, right? We got to let everybody know all the cool things that are
Exactly.
happening. Yeah,
They should go and visit when COVID is over and
right.
we're all safe.
When it's safe to leave other
Yeah,
places and not, start a fourth wave of virus.
hopefully not.
Don't be that person.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and see you later.